Insurance is a pain in the butt for liveaboarders. I will tell you that right now. They put us in this like special category. Oh, you're liveaboard? Well, hang on a second now. So that's the first hurdle you got to get through. But you cannot lie about it, because if they find out you're liveaboard and you have to file a claim, that will null your claim. You will not get paid. So don't lie to your insurance company about what you're using the vessel for. That's rule number one. So boat insurance is a little bit of the wild, wild west, especially for an older vessel, liveaboard, traveling around. There's a lot of factors. And what I mean by that is it's not your canned homeowner's policy. Homeowners is a very standard thing. Everybody has it. Car insurance. Do you want this, this, or this? Pick one of them and you go. There's a bunch of things to think about when it comes to insurance. One is your experience. They're going to want to know about your experience. The more you have, the better. The second one is location, location, location. Where your boat is makes a huge difference when it comes to insurability. We are in the Florida Keys at the moment, and when we bought our boat, we were also in the Florida Keys, and that made a big difference for us. Our premium would have been cut in half or a third if we were further north out of the hurricane box. So that is also a huge deal. There are some ways around as far as, our boat is here, and we're home basing here, but we're going to be traveling into these locations. Those are some ways around. For us, we're liveaboard, always moving, so we don't have that home base. We don't have a home address that we can claim. So if you've got that, good for you. The other thing that is a big deal is the actual vessel itself, the age and the conditions of the boat. I just listed 3 things that are important, and because of those 3 things, we were not insurable when we bought our boat. We had the trifecta. We didn't have enough experience on a vessel that qualified. We have a larger vessel, and our experience on the smaller boats, they didn't care about. We're in the Keys, we're in the hurricane boat. We have an older vessel, over 30 years old, and the condition at the time that we bought it, it was not insurable. And therefore, we had to make the decision, are we going to actually buy this boat without insurance? And we did. We were fortunate enough that we didn't have a loan or a boat loan that required us to have financing at closing. So we were able to buy the boat as is, spend 6 weeks on the hard, get it all fixed up. Our surveyor was awesome. Because he knew the situation we were in, he did like a punch list for me. He did a full survey, didn't write a full survey for me. He gave me a punch list and said, when you're done in 6 weeks and you're ready to go get insurance, call me. I'll come back, finish the survey as it currently sits with all the repairs done, and now I've got a good survey ready for insurance. We're currently shopping at the moment, and it is during hurricane season, and we started 6 weeks ago, and we've still yet to get, I think we've only gotten 1 quote. And so we've got feelers out all over the place. I should have 5, 6, 7 quotes by now, and it takes forever, and we're going on 6 weeks. So know that can take a lot of time. The age of the vessel and where you're going and time of year make a huge difference. Let me give you an example. We have our boat insured for what we paid plus what we've put into it because it appraised for that amount. So I'm just going to share some round numbers with you guys. We bought our boat for $45,000. I stopped counting at like $60,000 that I've put into it, and that was just for parts and stuff I've paid people to do, not including my time, and I'm sure I've put another 20 grand into it since then. But when we had the appraisal done, or the survey, the surveyed out right at $100,000. So we were able to get an insurance policy for $100,000. That's why it's so important that you get a survey with an estimate of value when it's in the best condition that it's in. There are folks that we've talked to who bought the boat for a certain amount and didn't have a survey, and all they could get for insurance was whatever they paid for that boat. Yes, they got a screaming deal. It was a $100,000 boat that they bought for $60,000. Well, they can't get more than $60,000 because that's what they paid for it. So you have to get a survey because they want an independent person saying, yeah, this boat is what it is, and it should be worth this amount. Now, we've got what's called a declared value policy. So we have said we want this vessel insured for $100,000. There are people out there, or insurance companies out there, that write different types of policies. So you need to know what you're getting. Is this a replacement value? Is this a current market value? Is it a declared value policy like ours? So you need to check and see if something happens, how much am I going to get paid? And if it's not written out on a number, as a number on a line, you need to know How are you determining that value? Because that can make a huge difference. The other thing you need to know is what's covered. We've had people say, well, I can insure your vessel, but I cannot insure it for a windstorm, aka a hurricane. So they'll insure me for anything except for a hurricane or wind loss. So you have to ask those questions. There's certain areas that I can and can't go. If I get in the Cuban waters, insurance policy is null and void. So I have to stay, even though I'm insured in the Florida Keys and the Bahamas and so many miles outside of that, which technically Cuba is within that range, because it's in Cuban waters, I'm not covered. So you got to ask these questions. There's other things, like you would have in homeowners or car insurance, personal property. Again, we're liveaboards. It's not just the boat. Everything I own is on the boat, all my possessions. If this thing goes down or catches fire and goes up in smoke, everything we have, aside from what we may have left on land or a dinghy we got off with or something, is going to be gone. So you got to think, what's that going to cost to replace? There's also things they call it PIP or medical, and personal injury protection or medical. These are if somebody gets hurt on your boat. So depending on what you're doing, you may be using yours to charter sometime or whatever. If somebody's up visiting on your boat and gets hurt, are you covered? What's the coverage there? Then you've got liability. A lot of marinas require you to have a certain amount of liability. We were at one marina that required $300,000. We talked to another one, they wanted $1 million. Nobody would give us $1 million liability because they're like, you have a 30-some-odd-year-old boat that's worth $100,000. Why would you need $1 million liability insurance? Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that will write it, but you don't want to pay for that person. If you're using your business, or excuse me, if you're using your boat for business, you're chartering it or renting it out or something like that, that could be a whole different type of policy. So you need to know, am I covered in these instances if it's leased out, or if I'm renting it, or if I'm chartering it, or if I'm taking people out and they're paying me as a captain to take them out? All these things you need to ask. That being said, I'm not an expert by any means, okay? You need to be self-reliant and check out things for yourself. Read your policies. Never, ever, ever just sign blindly. Know what you're signing.